If you want to know how do you push yourself when pain is all you feel with every step, watch this video until the end. Like, share, and subscribe it. Everything I had gone through, I realized that the human mind, if you can put it in a very quiet, calm place and get it calmed down and not to be so spastic, that you could possibly make this work out for you. How about, are you really? So I calmed myself down and I had to make this enormous thing small. I had 30 more miles to run and my body was in the worst place in my entire life. The worst pain I ever felt is my life. So I broke this 30 miles things down. I broke it down to small chunks. I calmed my mind down. I had to get water, had to get potassium, had to get sodium. I had to stop being so dizzy because I had to be able to stand up. So my dizziness went away after about an hour. I was able to stand up now and I was going around this track at like 30 some minutes mile. And I never get my crew person saying, hey, I got to mile 81. They said, you're not gonna make the time. I had 24 hours and I was going to slow it down. Taking so much time, this is when I realized that the human mind, once everything gets connected, once the mind knows you're not gonna quit something, it's gonna try to find more, it's gonna try to give you more. Once it realizes you're not gonna take the path of least resilience, you're gonna stay here until it's done. My mind, my body, my spirit become one for the first time ever. For the first time ever, it become one. I went to a level that I never thought was humanly possible for myself or anybody else. In that shape that I was in, I was able to run 19 miles. I ran 19 miles, did 100 miles. I actually did one more mile. I did 101 miles in 18 hours and 56 minutes. I had to overcome so many obstacles in my life, and this was the final crucible for me. I got through it. At the end of this race was such clarity to me. It was just the most amazing thing I ever do in my life. I was at the very edge of my capability and wasn't sure that I could take one more step. I felt like I drained 99% from my tank. At least my gas light was on, my engines shattering. Yet I know I had to find more if I was going to finish this race and get myself into bad water. But how do you push yourself when pain is all you feel with every step? When agony is a feedback loop that permeates each cell in your body, begging you to stop. That's tricky because the threshold for suffering is different for everyone. What's universal is the impulse to succumb, to feel like you've given everything you can, and that you're justified in leaving a job undone. By now, I'm sure you can tell that it doesn't take much for me to become obsessed. Some criticize my level of passion, but I'm not down with the prevailing mentalities that tend to dominate American society these days. The ones that tell us to go with the flow and invite us to learn how to get more with less effort. Fuck the shortcut bullshit. The reason I embrace my own obsessions and demand and desire more of myself is because I've learned that it's only when I push beyond pain and suffering past my perceived limitation that I am capable of accomplishing more physically and mentally in endurance races, but also in life as a whole. And I believe the same is true for you. The human body is like a stock car. You may look different on the outside, but under the hood, we all have a huge reservoirs of potential, and the government impeding us from reaching our maximum velocity. In our car, the government limits the flow of fuel in the air so it doesn't burn too hot, which places a ceiling on performances. It's a hardware issue. The governor can easily be removed if you disable yours. Watch your car rocket beyond 130 miles per hour. It's cellular process in the human animal. Our governor is buried deep in our minds, intertwined with our very identity. It knows what and who we love and hate. It's read our whole life story and forms the way we see ourselves and how we'd like to be seen. It is the software that delivers personalized feedback in the form of pain and exhaustion, but also fear and insecurity. It uses all of that you encourage us to stop before we risk it all. But here is the thing, it doesn't have absolute control, unlike the governor and an engine. Ours cannot stop unless we buy into its bullshit and agree to quit. Sadly, most of us give up when we've only given around 40% of our maximal effort. Even when we feel like we've reached our absolute limit, we still have 60% more to give. That's the governor in action. Once you know that to be true, it's simply a matter of stretching your pain tolerance, letting go for your identity and all your self-limiting stories so you can get to 60%. The 80% and beyond without giving up. I call this 40% rule. The reason it's so powerful is that if you follow it, you will unlock your mind to new levels of performance and excellence in sport, and rules can be applied to everything we would because in life. Almost nothing will turn out exactly as we hope. There are always challenges, and whether we are at the work or school or feeling tested within our most intimate or more important relationships, we will be tempted to walk away from commitments, give up on our goals and dreams, and sell our own happiness short at some point because we will feel empty, like we have no more to give when we haven't tapped even half of the truth, buried deep in our mind, heart, and souls. I know how it feels to be approaching an energetic dead end. I have been there too many times to count and understand that temptation to sell short. But I also know that impulse is driven by our mind's desire for comfort. And it's not telling you the truth. It's your identity trying to find sanctuary, not help you grow. It's looking for status quo, not reaching for greatness or seeking wholeness. But the software update that you need to shut your governor down is not supersonic download. It takes 20 years to gain 20 years of experience. And the only way to move beyond your 40% is to callous your mind day after day, which means you will have to chase pain like it's your damn job. Imagine you're a boxer, and on the first day in the ring, you take one on your chin. It's gonna hurt like hell, but a year, 10 of being a boxer, you won't be stopped by one punch. You will be able to absorb 12 rounds of getting beat down and come back the very next day and fight again. It's not that punch has lost power. Your opponent will be even stronger. The challenge has happened within your brain. You've polished your mind over a period of time. Your tolerance for mental and physical suffering will have expanded because your software will have learned that you can take a hell of a lot more than one punch. If you stay with any task that is trying to beat you down, you will reap rewards, not a fire. Say you like to run, but have a broken pickle toe. I'll bet if you continue running on it, pretty soon you will be able to run on a broken legs. Sounds impossible, right? I know it's true because you run on broken legs, and that knowledge helped me endure all the manner of agonies on the ultra circuit, which has revealed a clear spring of self-confidence that I drink from whenever my tank is dry. But nobody taps the reserve 60% right away or at once. The first step is to remember that your initial blast of pain and fatigue is your governor talking. Once you do that, you're in control of their dialogue in your mind, and you can remind yourself that you are not as drained as you think, that you haven't given it your all, not even close. Buying into that will keep you in the fight, and that's worth An extra 5%, of course. That's easier lesson than done. It wasn't easy to begin the false lap of hurt 100 because I knew how much it would hurt. When you are feeling dead and buried, dehydrated, rang out, or torn the fuck up for the person, finding the extra 60% feels impossible. I didn't want my suffering to continue. Nobody does. That's why delaying fatigue makes crowd of all. Mind you, I didn't know anything about the 40% rule that day.